Yeah. Hello, Andrew. Hi, Belle. It's nice to have you here in my little Facebook group. And then obviously we will spread the word to everywhere possible we can. We have a whole bunch of questions for you as we title this evening, like Ask Andrew Anything. And it's not the Anonymous Alcoholics Associations, but a different AAA. Oh, and the AAA is is
The
the
AAA is car help
yeah,
and stuff.
car hairs. Yeah, that's what I just re recalled. Um, so you have the beautiful Eiffel Tower behind you. How is Paris?
I just got in a couple hours ago, so but it's wonderful. I'm doing
Okay,
a 3-day body class that starts tomorrow, and we're using,
awesome.
if you know who Gaia Campagnone is, it's her apartment. We're using her apartment, which is right by the Eiffel Tower, so got a
It's
lovely view.
yep, amazing. How did we get so lucky? But you know what? Now that you just mentioned the 3-day body class, let's just jump into the middle because we got some questions and we got some questions about bodies. And one of the questions we got that you are not just only doing 3-day body class and ESSE, but you also do these calls for body process facilitators with regards to
Hmm.
different energies and different processes. And the question is, how do you know so much about these energies? How did you discover them? Stuff like that.
So I think like it's a lot of effort on my part. Like I put in a lot of work into running the body processes because when you run the body processes, you get, each choice creates awareness. So like, it seems like I know a lot about these, but the one thing I realized is when any body process I would run and I couldn't remember the title of it, or like it would just get fuzzy in my head trying to say it. I would keep running that body process or getting it run on me because what I realized is when I couldn't recall it or it was really fuzzy, there was something about that energy that I wasn't willing to receive. And
Mm.
then with running the processes over and over again, it got way easier to I was receiving that energy, I was being that energy. And when you're being and receiving that energy, you know lots about it. Why? Because you are willing to be it, you're willing to receive it.
Awesome. Okay, I never considered that because I just became a body process facilitator, and basically the manual is like nothing. And when there is a certain body process, then basically you really have to be aware of your knowledge. You really have to know what you like, what feelings you get. I know not feelings, but you
Hmm.
know what I mean, to actually talk about it at least a little. But you go in a lot
Well,
more depth.
but I think, that's one of the reasons why we do the calls monthly. But the other thing is you don't have to talk about the body process. The point of the body process classes is to be able to experience running the body processes. So that's, energetically, part of it for me, it was like it's work because you might be aware of the energy and you might be able to give that energy and facilitate that energy with the body processes. But talking about it and putting words to it sometimes isn't so easy.
Mhm.
And so,
Exactly.
it's a muscle that you have to develop. But I tell all the body process facilitators, they don't have to talk about, like, we're oftentimes in this reality, especially with our body, we want an answer. We want to
Hmm.
say, oh, what does this do? But nothing in Access is about what it does. It's always about like infinite possibilities, not one definitive result. But in this reality, we're always looking at, if I do this, what is the result going to be? But with the body processes, they're not looking at creating results. They're about opening you up to being and receiving more. But what can you be and receive from them? Well, it depends on what you are willing to be and receive and what you're interested in being and receiving.
Hmm. It's interesting that you mentioned this reality versus something else, because that was another question basically when it comes to realities. It's kind of like, when you create your own, it could be like, and I just got this the other day that basically it seems as if I was living in a bubble
Hmm.
because kind of I know that there are things going on in the world but basically I don't really go into the trauma drama kind of things.
Hmm.
And basically people say that, but you live your little happy peppy life and
Hmm.
there are just so much ugliness in the world. So how do you how can one basically find the balance? I know the balance is not the right term again, between this reality and our own reality. And do they have to?
Well, well, no, I would say no. What I would go to is when you're looking at balance, we have the question, one of the 10 commandments is, would an infinite being choose this? Okay, so when you're going, oh, I need to find balance between this reality and my reality, or other people's reality and my reality. Okay, well, one, is that light or heavy?
Hmm.
Two, would an infinite being need or require or desire to balance, or to balance their reality with other people's realities?
Hmm. Hmm.
No, because the other thing is, when we're talking about balance, it's like, on a scale. So it's always going to have weight. It's always about the judgment and how to make sure you judge them equally, because that's what balance is. You've judged each side equally. So that means you have to weigh your reality down to make sure it is even or scaled with someone else's,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is, makes you feel great, right? Nice and light and wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of like what was that Red Hot Chili Peppers? Like, I want to get away, I want to fly
Yes.
away. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not that kind of reality that, or
Yeah.
yeah,
But
state of
what I
mind.
would say is, you can have your reality and you can be aware of other people's realities, but you don't have to go into their reality or buy into their reality.
Hmm.
Its point of view creates your reality. And so there's lots of different points of views. It's like there's lots of people that, I like to buy things in auction, right? So I could buy something that I think is a really great deal, and other people say, oh, it's not worth anything. And then I can look in selling it, and if I find someone else that thinks it's really a good deal at the price I have it at, they'll buy it and they think it's a good deal. What was actually true?
Hmm.
Their, point of view creates your reality. It doesn't, make it right or wrong. And it's the same thing with like the ugliness of the world or all of these things. It's like, well, is that true, or is that just someone's point of view?
Hmm. Correct. Yeah.
Now is just indulging in everything that's being said. um, yeah, I have my questions in front of you. So we got one regarding being yourself, or to be specific, how can I get out of my own way? That was the question.
It's I would ask, like, if you notice you're starting to do it, the easiest way to do it is every time you notice you are getting in your way, go, okay, everything I chose that creates this, everywhere I chose to stop myself, pock and pot. And just keep doing it each time you notice you're doing it. Because it's not one choice that you made that's stopping you. It's like each day you choose things that are stopping you or limiting you and everything. But if you start doing each day, when you notice it and acknowledge it, oh my gosh, I just stopped myself again. Okay, everything that is pock and pod, you'll start to break apart where you have that habitual choice of stopping yourself, or those things just seem to occur instantaneously without you even like having a moment of awareness of it.
Hmm. And the same person asked about her bar, like access business as well.
Hmm.
She wrote that not a lot of people are coming to her, like not a lot of people are coming to take private sessions with her.
Hmm.
And what can she do in order to,
What could
get
I
more?
be to create, however many sessions each week, each part? Like basically, I think this ties into her other question though, because she's like talking about stopping herself and then she's not getting any clients either, which is, another form of stopping yourself. So
Yeah.
they like with your business and everything, it's like people come to you because you're being something that can contribute to them or they're willing to receive or something that's different. So if you're asking for more clients, one, start asking for more clients to show up and potting everything you've ever done that doesn't allow them to show up and find you with ease, and look at your points of views. Because a lot of times, I know for me, it's very funny with some classes, my classes aren't going the way I want. I'm like, okay, so what point of view do I have about this? I'm like, oh, no one's going to come to this class. Did I consciously like make that decision or choose that? No, but for some reason I either bought a point of view or it was like another lifetime or whatever, who knows, whatever. Somehow I had that energetically in my world and I pot it and then things start moving. So it's like, with your clients, just keep working on it. Because the thing is, it's never like, I really like what Gary says, it's never give up, never give in, never quit. If you don't give up, if you don't give in, if you don't quit, you will succeed eventually. It's just, a lot of times we go, oh no, we make a decision and that stops us. But the only one powerful enough to stop you is you. So just keep going and keep going, okay, whatever I have to be or do, I'm going to do it. I would like to have however many bars clients a week. And you can ask, well, for me, what I do is, okay, so what energy, space, and consciousness can I be to have 10 bars clients a week with total ease? And everything doesn't allow it, pot. And I would just, whatever number that is for you, whatever you think is realistic, if 3 is realistic for you at this point, then do 3. And when you start getting 3 consistently each week, then go, okay, I want to have 10 now, and then try and do that. And once you're creating 10, expand more. Because another thing I see a lot of people do when they're starting the bars business is they start comparing it to other people that have a business and thinking, oh, like they have clients every week. They're seeing like 50 people. So like I need to see 50 people. Well, but you're not the same. They might have been having their business for 5 or 6 years. You're just starting out, so it's like you have to start. But what I see a lot of times with facilitators is they like basically stop themselves before they even start by, trying to compare themselves to someone else and then get mad at themselves and try and judge themselves into being successful because, they're, oh, I need to have this like that. They did it, so can I. Well, yes, they did it and so can you, but they're different and you're different. So it's like, what ways can you create your business that would work for you? And what can you be that would create your business with total ease?
Can we extend this question to not just the business, but in, let's say, everyday's life? Because when I ask the question that what kind of life I want to live, what I aware of, what I know is possible, sometimes it seems just way beyond reality, like no, way beyond being realistic, rather. So when you are not really congruent with actually what you can achieve.
But whose realistic is that? Yours or someone else's?
Huh. Okay.
Because you're saying it's not realistic for you, or not realistic for your parents, or not realistic for your friends, or, your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. What is it not realistic? It's like when I committed to really creating an access business, and that was going to be my full-time thing, and that was what I was going to do. It wasn't realistic. It wasn't anything in my mother's universe. Like my mother did not agree with that. She's like, what are you doing? You're a doctor. You have this job. Why did you go to school and get this degree if you're going to, you're not really using it from her point of view. I'm like, I'm totally using it. I have all the knowledge. I learned so much. Like that 3 years gave me so much more information about what I wanted to do with my life. And I know so much more about bodies because I chose to do that. So I am using it. It's just not using it in the way she wanted. And now even now, how I live my life isn't realistic to other people. Because they're like, wait, you travel? How do you travel 250 days out of the year? I could never do that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing it. So, it's, to me, that's also kind of like the thing about having your own reality. And it's like, what is it that, I'm clear what works for me and what makes me happy. I realize that it might not work for other people. And there's no judgment or anything in that, but it's like for me, I look at it, okay, what I like to move around. I get like if I'm stuck in one place too much, I start getting restless and I start going stir crazy. And now it's like I get to travel all over the world. And so it's like that's one of the things that is fun for me and like is kind of, you know, uh, in like enlivens me or gives me energy and contributes because I get to go to all these beautiful places. I get to see them. I get to talk to all these different people too and see all these different points of views, which is also something I really like. Is that realistic for a lot of people? No. I mean, 50% of Americans don't even have a passport, so they never even leave the country. So it's like, that realistic thing is, again, this is where who does it belong to is like really your friend. Because even with like, we can go back to creating your business too. It's like, okay, it's not realistic to be successful your first year of business from like a lot of people's business point of view. Okay, well, is that true? Or it takes such and such time to grow your business. Okay, interesting point of view. Well, all of these different things are it's like what I've learned the more and more I've done access, I've learned and just kind of experienced in using the tools is you can create magic and you can create miracles, but it's by being a different energy and also being willing to receive it. If you go, oh, I can't have 10 people show up overnight, then no, 10 people aren't going to show up overnight, or even one person's not going to show up overnight because you don't think that those things can occur. It's like, okay, what else is possible?
Hmm. And the next question is kind of relating to it because as you were talking about the way you live at the moment with your traveling and the way you create your life, what are the tools you are basically using every single day to kind of have all these things in the movement? So you are being a facilitator, you are in the body mob, you are helping out Gary's and Grace. So you have just so much plates basically. So
Mm-hmm.
what kind of tools do you use?
To where do I need to put my energy or attention today
Uh-huh.
is usually a question I wake up asking. It's like, okay, what do I need to be aware of today? Where do I need to put my energy and attention today? Which of these things requires energy? And then I, and if a lot of things do, I'm like, okay, which one do I do first? I ask questions. I mean, and then it's like which tools? Basically, any tool that's in the foundation manual probably gets used at least I don't know how many of them I use each day, but it's a lot of them.
Hmm. Do you have a to-do list, by the way, as you were saying that you asked this question that,
I
okay,
mean,
what requires my attention
I
based on what?
don't I sometimes I'll write out lists because it's helpful to get things out of my head and onto a piece of paper. But I mean, if I try and say I'm going to do it and like give myself timelines and deadlines, it usually doesn't work. Because the other thing that I trained myself to do, and then I learned this from working with Gary and Dane. I help manage their schedule and I schedule things for them and I book a lot of their travel accommodations and stuff. And so sometimes I learned like I would try and force things through and I wouldn't be able to, like the internet would be glitchy, something like a credit card wouldn't be working, the website would be down, whatever. I would forget about it and get distracted and think that I forgot and I was wrong because I said I was going to do it and I didn't do it, whatever would occur. And then something like a day later or 3 days later or something, we would find out that the class would change or it would be moved or would be rescheduled or like I would get aware of a new possibility or something. So the other thing I realized is, like having a timeline is nice, but it's also like sometimes when things aren't flowing and when they're not working, I start looking at, okay, is this what I really need to do now? Or is there something else? Like,
Hmm.
it's like, and this is like something that I mean, I still do it where I'm like, I look at is now the time or do I need to wait? And I realized, part of the thing is as you get like as I gave myself more and more freedom to kind of just have my awareness and be aware of it, like and not try and override that, like I would just naturally do those things without kind of any thought. Like I'm like, oh, I would think about booking it and then I would forget. And then I would like go and look and oh, and then I book it and I'd have because there would be other like I would be aware of other futures, but it wouldn't be like something that's cognitive in my world. And
Mm.
so it's like, and I think that's one of the gift of bars and foundation and like basically any access class is it starts to open you up to this possibility where you have this awareness and you might not even know you have this awareness, but you have it. And so you just start choosing things naturally that are kind of congruent or align with that awareness.
Mm. Okay. This section will be definitely something I will have to re-listen. Wasn't relevant at all.
Uh,
Deus? Okay, two more topics of questions. What is money and what is relationships? I have no idea.
well, great. Money and relationship. Just
I know,
we'll
right?
cover that in like 2 minutes.
In
Got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5, but you can do it in 2. How can I boost my finances? That was one of the questions.
So one I would look at, like, there's some really easy things. There's like the books that Access has. I don't know what's in Hungarian. I know the How to Become Money workbook is in Hungarian. So I would say do that. Like, I know sometimes it's a pain in the ass and you don't want to do it and you hate the book. Like I've been there, or like answering the questions and you like forget about it and bury it under laundry or put it in a closet or something. But if you actually like will do it, and then wait a month and then do it again and, and just go about your life naturally, it will start to change your points of views around money and you'll start opening up to a different possibility with money. The other thing is just start asking. If you're like, okay, I would like to increase the amount of money I'm earning. Okay, so just ask, okay, so what would it take to make X amount more dollars or, foreign? Like however much you're asking for, start looking at that. And, this is where it's like, for me, I see they're like, oh, well, I'd like, I don't like $1 million a year. I'd like to make $1 million a year. Okay, that's great. You can ask for it, but you also have to be willing to be that. And if you have the point of view asking for you're asking for $1 million, but you also have the point of view, there's no way you could ever have $1 million, then it's not really gonna, like, you're already stopping yourself. Like your point of view before you ask the question is, I can't have it, but I'm gonna ask for it anyways. And then when it doesn't show up, you get to make yourself wrong for it. So it's like, the other thing is, do to something that is believable to you in a way. It's like, okay, if what is you would like, oh, what would it be to like I make $1,000 more this month or whatever. Like ask something that's actually not so far outside your reality and universe that, so you can give yourself like baby step it. And if you're not into baby steps, then ask for the big thing. It's just like it just, I see so many people like ask for something for some crazy amount and then they get upset that they're not having it. And I'm like, okay, so truth, are you willing to be it? Truth, are you willing to receive that? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, then you can keep potting that. Another thing is you could always do is like whatever amount of money you would like to make each month or each year, just, okay, everything doesn't allow me to be this amount of money, pot. And just do that each day, every day. The other thing I always really liked is I don't want money, saying I don't want money, I don't want money, I don't want money, I don't want money. Because, a lot of times we're saying I want money, which means I lack money. And if you say I don't want money, that means you don't lack money.
I was actually wondering whether languages make any difference in that one. Like I want money. So one doesn't necessarily have the same meaning in Hungarian, let's say.
Well, it depends on how it translates. Like what is want in Hungarian? Like what does that translate to? What is the word? And then
In
what does
Hungarian,
it?
it's akarom. It's like,
Yeah. But do you say like, oh, I like that so you would say with that, I want more money? But what does that word actually mean? I don't know. Like you have to look at the energy of it and everything.
Okay. That's interesting, because when I was looking at the meaning of want, and I actually just recalled my memories of these old Western movies like The Wanted Criminals, and I was like, yes, we don't have him. We try to find him. We will probably catch them, but maybe not. And if that's the same with money, then yes, it's
Yep,
like
that
an
isn't
endless
that.
chasing.
Yeah,
But
exactly. It's an
in
end.
Hungarian, it's not quite the same. So that's why I was just wondering whether it's like a universal, I don't want money, or just have
Well,
to have a look.
but look at, you know, what you're saying. What is it you're saying about money in Hungarian?
Hmm. In
And
Hungarian, it's interesting because we are not making money, we are looking for money.
yeah, so that would make it an endless chase.
Yeah. So, uh-huh. So
Because
that's
remember, point
interesting.
of view creates your reality. So if it's like you're always looking for money, what does
Now
that
he's
mean?
cracking up.
It means you're always on the lookout for money, but you're never having it. You're always searching for it. You know,
Mhm.
this is where it's like, you know, the mantra of access, all of life comes to you with ease and joy and glory. What if rather than looking for money, it was coming to you?
Mhm.
What if rather than looking for money, money was looking for you?
Oh, that's neat.
But
Well,
do you see, just like with that energetically, that energy, like, and I mean, I know it's simple, but if you start changing that energy, that starts to change the energy you're being in your life, and you know how money can show up, because it's ask and receive is actually true. If you're telling money, oh, look, I'm always looking for you, then money gets to play hide and seek with you.
true. Yeah. Well,
My
we
phone
lost
broke.
Belle.
Lost me. Sorry. Okay, there was one more question regarding relationships. Like, and actually, we got a couple of them saying that, like the people asking, they want relationships, but they keep picking the wrong guys. So the question, a little bit changed by me, is how do I find the right person by Wednesday, by Valentine's Day? No.
Um, I mean, so one of the things is you know, it's like a lot of times you're not like, it's, you have to be clear on what it is you're looking for in a relationship. And most of the time you, like, people in general are not very clear on what it is they would like and what it is they wouldn't like. Or they just talk about what they would like, but they don't have any idea of what they would not like. You know, so it's like when you're looking for guys, well, like actually get clear on what it is that you would like and be realistic. Sometimes people like have all these lists of everything, but it's not something that they actually care about or anything. They just think they need to have these things. And then they leave out like really important things, like, I don't know, someone who's kind to me or someone that's fun to be around. They're like, I just want someone that has lots of money. Okay, but they're not kind to you and that you don't have a lot of fun. So you have money, but you have no fun. And you're like, okay, this isn't what's working for me. So I think that's part of it. And I mean, I don't know, there's so much in relationships that it's like hard to like give one thing and then like say, how do I get it by this amount of time?
No, that was just.
But if we're talking about relationships, I mean, you just got married and your wife was actually living on a different continent. So that's something which is not
Yes,
usual.
yes, we're an unusual couple.
Yeah, because we have so many point of views about, yes, he should be nice and kind and wealthy. Well, he happens to live in, let's say, Australia. Oh, well.
I just had to import my wife. I couldn't find anyone in the United States that was good enough, so I needed a. She's right next to me, so she's looking at me now. I'm in trouble.
Love it. Okay,
Um,
Yep.
But I think this is again, it's like what, like for me, it was like that it didn't matter that she lived somewhere else. And I mean, now we're in the process of changing things and moving in together, but it's like that didn't matter at the time. Like we saw each other because I traveled so much, or she traveled so much, that it's like we would see each other, and it was nice. I mean, I like my space, so I'm not going to complain about having to be alone for like a couple weeks at a time.
Mhm.
So it worked for me. Now I'm gonna have to find a new way for it to work for me when she's going to live with me. I'm just gonna give her like I'm gonna find my own like hideaway spot. Oh,
Yeah.
I can move to Paris. I can have the Paris apartment. Nice. All right, cool. Guy just said I can have her Paris apartment when she's not here. You all heard it, so I'm gonna use that as
You have
but
witnesses.
but you know, so it's like with the relationship, that's like part of it is I think all relationships, if you want to really get into it, is you know the like the five elements of intimacy, but having that with you, which is honor, trust, allowance, gratitude, and vulnerability. But you have to start having that with you, because then you can get clear on, you know, what's honoring of you, what's you know what is it, you know, you having gratitude for you. Because if you don't have gratitude, like this is the actually this is probably number one thing, we're always looking for someone else, like we're looking for someone to be grateful and amazing to us, but we're not grateful or amazing for ourselves.
Hmm.
And you know, I think relationships and money are a bit of the same, where you're always looking for it, but you're not really willing to have it.
I kind of got the sense that it wasn't an accident that I put them together.
It wasn't an accident you put them together. No.
Yeah. If you still have some more time,
Yep.
I have two questions. They are kind of relating again. So one question was direct to you because we heard that some time ago you had this demand to participate in all 7 days classes, and you
Mm-hmm.
eventually made it. And the
Mm-hmm.
question is, how did you do that? And it kind of connects me to the other question that frequently we feel like choosing a class, but then the money doesn't show up. So
Yes.
what's the issue there? And you went to these
Well,
major classes, you made it.
yeah, I made
How?
it. It
Yeah.
wasn't about the money. You can't make it about the money. It's about the choice.
Uh-huh.
And was it comfortable? No, it wasn't. I mean, there was many times where it wasn't really easy to do it. And I was like, okay, I would just figure it out and I would just do it. You know, I would try and make it work. I would end up, you know, splitting rooms with people. I would end up, you know, I would be in the class. Like when I would get to the class, I would be like letting people know I'm offering. I mean, I make sessions. So it's like sometimes, you know, when I go to the class, that was like part of how I could go there and I could pay for the classes by like letting everyone know. But I would be like, I would be announcing it. I would be letting people know. I would be going around touching people and like giving them samples, like, you know, like whatever I could do to basically create it. Cause I knew that was like what I wanted to do. And I knew if I wasn't going to create it, like if I wasn't creating the money, then I wouldn't be able to continue doing that.
Hmm.
So it was kind of like, you know, I just wasn't going to like, I wasn't going to like, I wasn't going to stop myself like with the money or whatever, because I realized I was like, okay, this is something that's valuable to me. Like I see my life change each time I come to these classes in amazing ways. What is important to me? Is the money important to me? No. What is it? I would like to change. I would like to be more. I would like to receive more. I would like to, you know, have that possibility in my life. Okay, so I'm going to have it. Whatever I have to do, however I have to get there, you know, I have to like start hitchhiking a month before, I'm going to do that. You know, whatever I need to do to make it. But I just kind of really said I was going to do it and started looking at doing it, and it, you know, it got easier and easier as time went on. But the first couple times it was like, ooh, you
Hmm.
know, because the classes, the 6 day events aren't cheap, and then to pay for flight and travel, you know, if you're traveling half over the world, it's you know, it's a lot. But I kept asking, and I would run into things. I would like, okay, everything I'm doing to stop myself, pock and pot, everything I'm unwilling to, like everything I'm doing, creating to not have the money. So then I don't have to go to the class because I didn't create the money, pock and pot. I would just like, I really didn't stop and I would just keep going. And the other thing is you can ask for help. It's like, there's a lot of times it's like I told people that and then people were contributing to it too. They're like, they would say, hey, he's doing sessions like, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Hmm.
so it's like, if you like let people in on it, they can contribute.
Okay.
But lots of
And now,
times you like keep it secret and not tell, like you keep it secret and you don't even really tell you want to do this. You just like, like, oh, that sounds nice. And again, it's not for everyone. I think for me, it was something that I valued. So I also think that you have to get, like, this goes back on to getting clear what it is that's true for you and what is it that you would really like to do.
mhm.
Because I know people look at what I did and they're like, that's crazy, that's too much. I'm like, okay, it's crazy and too much for you. It's not crazy and too much for me.
So now we have 2 more weeks until you arrive, and we're gonna have a fabulous 3.5 days together on the foundation. And people
Yes.
are still asking that, okay, what's the last day of payment? Because I really want to go, but I still don't have the money. What are my options? And we know that probably you can show up, but at least we have to know a couple days before they arrive. Any other
Well, they can
sug-
wait till the last minute. They just might not have a manual or anything.
Okay. And something really struck me as you were saying that, are you actually willing to do whatever it takes?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, and it's like the other thing is like you're looking at creating the money, and then you're always looking at how you don't have the money at the same time. So
mhm.
it's like, where are you putting your energy and attention? Are you putting your energy on creating money, or are you putting your energy and attention into how you don't have the money? So
Hmm.
I would just go, okay, pock and pod that and like start having fun, start doing something that and creating things and looking at what's creative and fun and expansive for you. You're not wrong if you don't have the money and can't pay for the class. I mean, you can make yourself wrong if you would like to. But for me, it was always like, I was like, okay, this class is something I enjoy. What would it take? What do I have to be? What do I have to do? And truly, what else is possible? Because I
And
mean, one of the times I did that with, like, I was doing, I don't know if I shared it with you guys the last time we were doing some money call or something, but it was like, I was just graduating chiropractic school. In the last 3 months, I get to do like an internship thing. So it's unpaid. You just go in and volunteer. And Gary and Dane were doing this telecall series called What If? And it was like $500, I think. And I was like, I didn't have the money for it. Like I wasn't working. I was in school. Like, I didn't have any money, especially any extra money for the thing. And I was like, okay, but what if I did have the money? Because the telecall series was What If. So I was like, okay, so what if I did have the money? And that still kind of brought up like all this thing of like, I was always looking at how I wasn't creating it and I don't have the money. So it's not really a lie. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't have the money and I get that I'm judging myself and all of this. But okay, so what else is possible? What else is possible that I haven't considered? And what else is possible with all my crap, Okay, so I'm don't have the money. Okay, so what else is possible? And I don't think I can create the money. Okay, so what else is possible? And I still don't have the money. Okay, so what else is possible? And I just like did that like one night for myself. And then like the next day, it was going to be my last day in the chiropractic office before I like went to graduate. And he's like, hey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming and helping these last 3 months. And he handed me a check for the exact amount that the telecall was. But I
wow.
wasn't expecting the check or anything. And I was like, oh my God, crazy. So I, naturally I signed up for that telecall. But
Hmm.
it's like for me, like I noticed the shift in the energy and I was okay with it, either way, but it was still nice to have that. It just showed up. I was like, oh my God, it's so easy. So, energetically, when we put these walls and these barriers up, it's like you know, half the time it's not about actually doing the thing. It's just like another source of proving how we're wrong, or, you know, how messed up we are or how bad we are, rather than just, it's like, you know, and I mean, I've been there, I've done it. I've done lots of times where I like couldn't afford the classes or anything. But a couple of things I realized is I was like, okay, well, I can't, either I create it or I don't, but I'm still not wrong.
Okay, that was actually, you are just in my head, I guess, because that's what I wanted to ask. That did it ever happen to you that you, let's say, chose a class you wanted to go and then you couldn't make it? And how?
I mean, yeah, I think, you know, with access classes in general, you like, as a humanoid, you're like, I want to go to everything. But, you know, for some of the things, there was lots of like, my choice not to go created a lot for me many of the times too. Whether it was like, there's been choices where I have the money, or I'm like, it's a little bit of a stretch, and I'm like, you know what, I started asking yes or no more, rather than looking at like what I thought, or all these people trying to pull me there or whatever. I was just really like, okay, yes or no. Yes. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna go. Okay, no. Okay, I get more of a no. Okay, cool. Whatever that is. But I was looking at what classes can I choose that's going to change my life.
Hmm,
Because
awesome.
oftentimes, you know, the other thing is, if you're not creating it, you might just not really want to do it. You know, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. You don't have to have the excuse, oh, I don't have the money. You can just say, no, I'm not interested. But lots of times, you know, people like use money as an excuse that they don't want to do it, rather than just saying, oh, I'm not interested. Okay, I'm not interested. Cool. But lots of times people are like, oh, I don't have the money. And it's like, no, it's not about the money. It's just you don't aren't interested.
Hmm. I ran out of questions. What about you, Belle?
I ran out as well.
You
Okay.
guys have both ran out of brain power more than questions, I think.
I wonder if we had anything in the Hungarian. I don't know if somebody was following online. So Anna, if you can just let us know, that would be lovely. We'll just wait for it, because in the Facebook Live there is no questions, and I kind of get the feeling that after the call we will have some.
Oh well. Then they can
Oh,
come live for 4 days
uh-huh,
and ask me in
uh-huh,
foundation all their questions.
exactly. Well, I think that's no answer means probably no
Yes.
from
Or
the
we killed our
Hungarian line.
translator and we don't even have Hungarian translation.
No, she's awesome. No, she's alive. She's
She's
alive.
alive.
Okay, so well, thank you for this amazing evening. We wish you some pleasant stay in Paris. It's amazing. I just can't take my eyes off not you, but your background, to be
Yeah, the
honest.
Eiffel
This
Tower.
is
It's pretty
amazing.
nice.
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Okay, so we see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, I will
Um,
be in Budapest in 2 weeks.
yes, and then in 3 weeks it's going to be the ESSE class as well. We're going to put the links
Yeah.
everywhere as we usually do. Um, and let's talk to you later.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.